Hey everybody, welcome back to TCBD Dead Talk. This is Two Comic Book Dudes. I'm Aaron, editor-in-chief of Comic Booked.
Hey everybody, Justin, managing editor over at Comic Book.
And we are reviewing the mid-season finale for The Walking Dead tonight, season 6, episode 8, called Start to Finish. And Justin, you said one of the characters actually says that in the episode.
Yes.
I know we've noticed that the last couple episodes we've heard it said, whatever the title is. So that's interesting because it always has a double meaning or multiple meanings, it seems. Mm-hmm. In a way, this episode's about the start of the finish of the town. Maybe, some other things are starting to finish, like Carol and Morgan's friendship.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that ended last episode.
Yeah, and I think that if she wakes up, that she's probably going to kill Morgan.
Yeah,
I don't think anything's going to hold her back from that. So,
as soon as she gets the gun, he may be gone.
Oh, I don't even think it'll take a gun. I think she'd rip him apart with her own bare hands. So anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So this aired last night, November 29th. Yeah, hopefully you got a chance to watch it before you're watching us. If not, go ahead and pause and go watch it and then come back.
And we're back.
Okay, good. So you've watched it. You're like astounded, amazed, sad, probably crying. Just mop your eyes. Or
frustrated, pissed off, things
everything
of that sort also.
Yep. And if you didn't watch the first few minutes of Into the Badlands, which we'll be covering in our next show, then you missed the preview for next week, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. So if you really want to know what that's all, or for not next week, for February, if you want to know what that was all about, hold on to the end of the show, or just, fast forward and watch the last couple minutes. Whatever you want.
You have to play with the slider. Talk about random things.
That's right. So this whole episode starts off with Tiptoe Through the Tulips being a pretty regular song that we hear. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the Tiny Tim version or not, that's up for debate. Some people say it's a different version from the original 1929 version and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you people, crappy music experts? Whatever. Everybody's an expert on the internet. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. I just know Tiny Tim did a great version of it back in the 70s, back before I was born, I think. But anyway, and we won't sing it for you here. So Sam, Jesse's youngest son, sits up in his room at the beginning of the episode, and he's hiding from the monsters. Carol scared the crap out of him last episode and basically told him that we kill people in order to keep the monsters away. We kill to keep the monsters away. So right. The whole time I'm going, he's going to kill somebody just because he wants the monsters to go away. But he didn't. Although he may be an instrument to get everybody killed, but we'll talk about that at the end of the episode too. So,
yeah.
Gosh, mom, I just smacked the kid.
Knock him out.
Yeah. Anyway, so the very beginning, though, pre-credits was very interesting because it shows him sitting there eating some food, takes it out, puts it on the thing, comes back in, the music's playing, and then it pans over to the window, and you see all the ants coming in the window and swarming down on the plate of, looks like maybe a cookie or something. Yep. So very, very much foreshadowing of what's going to happen, or illustrative of how the walkers react. Just like ants for food. One of them finds it, the rest of them all find it. So I thought that was interesting. It was imagery, So pretty cool. Well, we know last episode the tower fell. Walkers come in. So
falls down.
Yep, lots of walkers.
Yeah, it just so happened to fall where they were like all gathered up. Yeah. Of course.
I couldn't make them run clear across town. Like
the tower fell over there. Not give them enough time to fix the patch. This, Yep. Don't have to do like 10. No.
Got to make it dramatic. Dramatic.
Yeah.
So everybody tries to get away. Deanna falls and hurts herself, and walkers are there, and she falls kind of on the walkers, and they grab her and and she fell on a saw blade, which I thought, oh, that's terrible. It's going to hurt, and
Mm-hmm.
they get her away. Maggie falls, and there's this whole tense moment where Maggie's climbing up the ladder, and the ladder's shaking back and forth, and she's hanging, and you're thinking they're going to let Glenn live and let her die, and it's like, no, don't kill Maggie. And she gets on top of the little platform, and she's all like,
Yep.
So Maggie doesn't
Freaking
die. Yep. So we knew she wasn't going to be the special guest star on Walking Dead or The Talking Dead last night. But it was close.
And see, I watched the like 12 o'clock episode, I guess, of The Walking Dead, or 11 o'clock, because I recorded that one.
Yeah.
And it picked up the last couple minutes of Talking Dead. So I saw who was on the couch.
Yeah. So you kind of already knew.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's something, if you don't want to know, don't watch this episode to conclusion here, because we are going to talk about the one character who dies in this episode. Who gets bit and is going to eventually die and become a walker or become walker food. We don't see the whole ending of that situation, but we're pretty sure what happens. So no dumpsters were to be found in this scene. We'll just say that. So, and Eugene, I still don't understand what Eugene's purpose is in this world, except to be the biggest waste of human flesh in the whole show.
Yeah, him or the preacher. Priest.
Even the priest seems to be better than Eugene at this point. Eugene is just worthless. He's a coward. He's a coward. He's a coward, but he can pick a lock.
he has his random little moments where you're like, come on, man, just string these together and stay in that zone, Yeah.
Well, last episode he's sitting there with the machetes, and all he had to do was practice the machete thing, and he's just like, this is not for me,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's supposed to be autistic. That might explain some things.
Well, I mean, but he's helped Denise too. Like when she was operating a few episodes ago, like he told her not to be a coward. You don't want to be like me.
Right. I'm the only one who can be a coward.
Right.
Don't take my job away. I've only got one job. I don't know. Poor Eugene. Someday he'll be valuable, whether as walker food or whatever. But we hope so. So as they're stumbling across here, all the walkers are coming at them. All of a sudden, Jesse jumps out of her house and boom, 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 clears a path for them, and they come into the house. So now they're all in Jesse's house, hiding out. Things seem to be okay for a minute.
Yes.
Okay. So they're in the house. In that house. So we jump outside of the gates. Glenn and Enid are trying to climb in now. They're still fighting over whether they should care about people or not. I mean, it's like this constant battle of Glenn's like, you should care for people. That's all we have left. And she's like, I don't care. I want to get away. Stop trying to be my dad.
But he dropped the trump card on her, and then she was like, okay.
Yeah.
He said Maggie's pregnant. And then Enid she was like, all right.
Yep. Yeah. And that's really his driving force at this point. I have a family there that I have to live for. I have to survive for. And I think that's the thing missing for Enid is she doesn't have a family. But Glenn's trying to make her understand that she does have a family if she wants to stay there with those people in Alexandria. But, she said several times in this episode, in the last couple episodes, this is the way it always happens. This is what always happens. It always gets destroyed. Everything gets lost. Everybody dies. Everybody moves on, So she's had some bad experiences, we know. We don't know all of what they are, but it's sad. I mean, that she's had that kind of life. So, so back to Michonne and Jesse. They brought Deanna in the house. She's not doing well. They have her laying up on the couch or up on a day bed or something, right? And Sam's freaking out because he's like, are the monsters here? And I don't know if I like it or not. Jesse constantly says to him, try to act like somebody who's not afraid.
Right.
Try to act like somebody who's brave. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Pretend like you're brave.
Yeah. Like, why don't you just be brave? I mean, just tell the kid to be
Right.
brave. Don't tell him to pretend to like he's brave. You don't know.
Mm.
So she just seems to be feeding this. I mean, unless he had some mental problems before, I don't know. But again, maybe he's autistic. Let's just keep going back to that.
But yeah, and then like, wasn't he outside and didn't he see his dad die too? So we know that messed up the other kid.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if he was there. He probably was. Yeah, because he saw his dad kill Reggie, and then saw basically Deanna tell Rick to kill him, and yeah. So that is definitely something that would trouble him or would cause a problem. So, but yeah. So then we're kind of back and forth, and I think at this point they haven't really checked her wounds, so we don't know what's going on with Deanna. We cut back to Carol and Morgan. They're holed up in the house where the wolf is. Carol fell on the way in. Looks like she might have a concussion. So I'm not sure how. Yeah, so she's all woozy and having trouble. Now, part of that I think is her playing, because she's unsure of the situation and she wants to kind of play back and play weak, and as she tends to do, play weak Carol so that she can be strong Carol. She's like bipolar when she needs to be.
Or she's just a really, really good chess player.
True. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So you got Denise down there taking care of the wolf, or helping the wolf out, and she talks to him and she tells him there's things to live for. You can change. You weren't always like this. And I'm thinking, lady, you're going to die. He's going to get a hold of you and you're going to get killed.
Yep.
Or something.
Right. His hands are tied. They're not like he can still use his fingers. Yeah.
Right. They're right there. I mean, yeah, they're tied together, but they're not. He's not immobilized.
Yeah. He could just make fist and hit her. It's like
right. And the whole thing, the wolf says that this is, I think, what defines these people who are the wolves, and it's very important because as we're thinking about people being people, these aren't people anymore. These are creatures. I mean, they have gone past that. They said they're not killing people. They're freeing them, and then they're using the parts that are left over. That's weird. So, yeah. His wound's getting pretty bad.
Are they also cannibals?
Well, they must be.
I mean, they were chopping people up.
That's why they were chopping people up, so they could take the parts back and eat them, which is similar. Well, okay. So you remember in Terminus?
Yeah.
The one guy that gets out that had the scraggly hair and was like all crazy, he had a W carved in his forehead.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he did. And he had tattoos all over. Mm-hmm. So the people who came to Terminus initially were wolves.
Yeah.
We think. And they were they turned them into cannibals. And that was the thing, So, I don't know. So Carol, let's see. We go back. I got lots of notes. See, I take notes when I watch this show, so then I try to keep track of what's going on. We've had several comments on the episodes, the past episodes. People like the play-by-play. They like to kind of see what went on and kind of relive the episode through what we talk about. So, I try to do that for you. So going back to Deanna now. So we finally see, as they kind of look over her wounds, that she's got the cut from the saw blade she fell on, and she's got a few more bumps and bruises. But the worst thing is that she does have a big, and close your ears if you don't want to know, big zombie bite right there below the saw blade bite. So yeah, it's pretty sad.
But she injured her. All right, that was my thing. Is she had like multiple injuries? So was it like a massive saw blade table and there are multiple saw blades because they had to. She was wrapping her leg.
Yep.
To keep it from bleeding, and then the other wound was on her back. So
yeah, it was because they'd been working right there, cutting stuff for shoring up the wall. Okay. And so when everything fell, it just kind of all scattered. And, yep. So that's pretty sad. She's got a bite. We know she's going to die. So then there's several parts of this episode where we're like, did she turn already? What's going on? And one of them is actually pretty funny, and that's coming up. So we cut back to Rick. Rick's formulating a plan. He's trying to figure out, what can we do? We can get out of here. We can stop this. We can take him out. We can get him out of town. We can clear things up. We can put the walls back. He's all about strategizing and trying to figure out how to do things. So that's
I'll
good.
lead them away. I'll get out. It'll be fine.
Right.
We'll use flares. We'll do whatever we
Yeah.
can do it.
So he's got a lot of plans, but I think what ends up happening in this episode is so many things come crashing down on him that he's got to focus on the right now instead of the long term, like he likes to do. Which has happened before. It happened with the governor. It happened with other things that have come up, and he's always come through those different episodes, different instances. Yeah. But this one's going to be tough.
Sorry. Keep kicking a dog. Sorry.
See now.
Hey.
So Deanna and Michonne have some time together, and they really talk about the future of the city, because Deanna had done an additional blueprint of expansion for the city and had given it to Michonne. And then Michonne's like, this is awesome. This is what you want for the city. I see how it can work. And she says to Michonne, Deanna says, what do you want? What do you want for this city? And so that's the whole thing. It's like she's never really thought about what she wants for herself or anything else. She's always been focused on, first she was focused on living in the past. Right. And just dragging those guys along with her, and living day to day, but always carrying her past with her. Then when she lost them, it was about surviving, and so it's just getting to the next day. Now she actually has time to breathe and think about, what do I want a month from now, 6 months from now, And we know in the comics, she has a guy, Ezekiel, and they live together for a little while, until she realizes that she can't be happy and she's not allowed to be happy. She takes off fishing, and anyway, he's dead now though. So yeah, he's zombie head on a stick from the Whisperers. So it's pretty sad. And so Michonne's not too happy about that in the comics, but we haven't got to there in the show yet. So Carl and Ronnie, this whole thing has been boiling up for the last couple episodes, and I was just waiting for the big eye socket to show up, and Ronnie's got a gun. Yep, just waiting for Carl to get shot in the eyeball.
He's going to turn around and bam.
Yep, and it didn't happen. Carl's actually the one pulled a gun on him and made him give up the gun, so that was kind of interesting.
But it was their fight that screwed up the house. So.
Right. Yeah, because Ronnie was like, everyone's dead. I'm dead. Mom's dead. Sam's dead. Everybody's dead. And Carl's like, what are you talking about? And then so they get in a knockdown, drag-out fight. And Ronnie swinging a shovel at Carl, breaks a window, attracts the walkers. Walkers come pouring into the garage. They all end up, bed back into the house now. And the door that Rick so cunningly broke the lock off of now won't close again. So the walkers are trying to come in that door. So they've got couches and stuff, a big barricade trying to keep them out. It's an awful mess. So yeah, Jesse's house is not the safe haven they thought it was going to be. But it all kinds of wraps up with Carl taking the gun from Ronnie. And then he says, to tell you the truth, your dad was an asshole. I mean, that whole line. You gotta realize something. That was hilarious. But because everybody knew it, and Ronnie had just never been told. Nobody liked your dad. He's dead. It's just get over it. I mean, he beat his wife, he beat his kids. Both his kids were afraid of him. His wife was afraid of him. Nobody liked him, So that was too funny. Yeah. Anyway, so now everybody's moving upstairs trying to get away from the walkers. Rick goes to look after Judith, and she was crying. She goes to try to, quiet her down, and then she stops crying. And then he looks and sees that Deanna's gone from the couch or the daybed or whatever, and so he's freaking out. And he goes in, he pulls the gun, and she's like hanging over the crib, and you go, "Oh no, is she eating the baby?"
Yeah, right. He pulls out his hatchet, and he's about to slice.
Oh, that's right. And she's like, no, it's still me. It's still me.
Yeah, I'm still me.
Barely. So, then her and Rick have kind of a one-on-one, and this is really where she passes the mantle to him. And she says, these are all your people. you don't have your group anymore. This is all your group, and it's your responsibility to take care of them. So she's really passing the mantle of leadership officially, as she knows she's going to die. So, but I thought that was a very important line, and in a way, this is Deanna's ending, because she says later on, as she's talking to Michonne, she says, I want to end my life the way I lived it, on my own terms.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, we knew, her start was with this town and all the work that they did, and now this is her finish. So we had, Deanna start to finish there. I thought that was, anyway, interesting. So back to Rosita, Tara, and Eugene all hiding in the garage. And Eugene, again, what's he doing? Reading a world history book.
Yep.
Everybody else is thinking,
it's not even dark in there.
It's like, I'm reading. Like, everybody else is trying to figure out a way out, and he's reading the world history book. You never know. This might come in handy later. No, Eugene, it will not.
There might be talk of a zombie apocalypse in the past we forgot about. It's in this random book in this garage.
Maybe we'll be going somewhere, and in order to get through this gate, we'll have to answer questions about world history, and I will have that in my skill set.
That's right.
I mean, whatever. Oh, so, but they want to pick the lock to get out of there, and he is able to pick that lock. So that's useful. So Carol and Morgan, what's that?
He does something.
Yes, for a change, instead of just standing there and look afraid, look scared.
I don't know.
Help! Help! That's what he's the best at, calling for help.
Right.
Oh, but this is interesting because Rosita and Tara are kind of having a conversation about the city and about life and about what's happened. And Tara says that a place like this has to have a price, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, and then I think Rosita says, we paid it. Doesn't she? But Tara's like, no, we're
obviously
paying it
not.
Now. Yeah.
She says, don't you think we paid it? And Tara says, obviously not.
Right. So there's a lot going on between them. I think that's interesting. They've been friends before, but I think they're getting closer in a lot of the things they're doing. So, getting close to the end of the episode here. Carol and Morgan are really, the more I see them, they're polar opposites. Carol will kill to survive and wants to make sure her group survives and the people around her survive. Morgan is all about life and protecting life, and he said before that he doesn't really know what's right and what's wrong anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He just has that focus of protecting life, and I think it's blinding him to the fact that, in order to survive, threats have to be removed sometimes, and there's not always salvation for everybody.
Right.
And that's an important thing to think about in this case, especially with this wolf. I mean, everything kind of falls apart with this. Carol's been kind of holding back. She shows her strength that she's not really all dizzy and knocks Morgan out, runs after her downstairs to kill the wolf. And because of that, there's just a whole big rough and tumble. And the wolf gets loose, gets a knife, knocks Carol out, knocks Morgan out, takes Lydia hostage. Or I'm sorry, we did Lydia thing again. Denise, Lydia's dead. We figured that already. Denise, there people are now they're going, who's Lydia?
Back 3 episodes.
Yeah, she's dead. She died on the table. So yeah, so the wolf is loose. He's going to take Denise and get away. So that's not good. Kind of knew it was going to happen. I think we all expected it. That none of that could end well. Walkers breaking in the house. The barricades give way at Jesse's house, and Rick and the crew head upstairs. Kind of their last defense there, last line of defense. And it's interesting. So they go down, they barricade the stairs. They kill a couple of walkers, and Rick's like, "I'll take this one, you take that one," and then drag them upstairs.
Yep.
And then this whole thing harkens back to season 1. I think it was episode 3. Episode 3 was called Guts.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, him and Glenn cover themselves in guts and like rain ponchos and guts, and we'll go out and kind of shamble through the walkers. And then, of course, for the first time in Georgia history, it rains.
Yeah, right.
Like it never rains, and then it rained, right? And it washed it all. It rained just enough too to wash it all off. And the walkers get them. But anyway, in this one, they do the same thing. They're all going to cover themselves in guts. And of course, but this time, as they're cutting open the walkers to get the guts out, Sam just picks this time to come out of his room and like, Mom,
What's going on?
Guts
still got
all
the
over.
record playing.
Oh my gosh, that stupid record. Yeah, I don't know. I look for Sam to get eaten, but we'll see. So they're going to cover themselves in bed sheets and walker guts and then just kind of silently make their way out. Silently being the key word here, Sam. Yeah. So Deanna's having her last few moments with Michonne, and there had been some Latin written on the edge of the plans. And Michonne said something about it, and she said, that's something Reginald always said. And the Latin translated to, someday this pain will be useful to you. And I think that's interesting because if you think back about the lives of all of the survivors, I mean, Michonne and the pain that she went through before and during and right after the zombie apocalypse kicked off, that pain has driven her and helped her to be strong. The stuff that happened with Carol, all this, I mean, her with Ed getting killed. Yeah, everything before and everything since, all the things that she's been through, everything. It's been very important to make her stronger, and maybe strong to a point where, I don't know, she's strong to a point where she doesn't really allow emotions to enter into things. She's all about survival, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes it can be. She tends to be a little short with people, a little emotionless with people, even the kids. Put the chocolate back or I'll shoot you in the head.
Yeah.
Kill people to keep the monsters away.
Carol's one of the few characters that has been completely on her own for a while.
Yes.
At a point. Most everybody else has been with a group. Whether, and that group's always dwindled, but but they've been with other people.
Yeah. Carol was kicked out, season 4 from the group.
Yeah, for like most of the season.
Yeah, right up until the end of season 5 or end of season 4, when she comes back and saves everybody from Terminus.
Right.
But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, she really did some self exploration while she was out there and realized that she can do this on her own, but kind of doesn't want to. Yeah. I mean, I think she realizes she needs that human companionship in order to keep her human, because I think she would really have turned into, more cold-blooded killer than she tends to be. It was nothing for her a few episodes ago to dress up like a wolf and go out there and start slitting throats. So, yep. So, Deanna decides that she's going to kill herself, so she keeps her gun and lets, Michonne go off and do her thing. In the end, she can't kill herself and instead realizes she might as well take some of those walkers with her, opens the door and starts blasting at them. That was pretty cool. That was a neat ending. We don't see her get eaten or anything, but we know for sure they get in there and take her out. So we may see Walker Deanna later, but probably not. I think it's better if we don't.
Yeah, I think it was good. Like she said, she was going to go out the way she lived. So she was going to go out fighting, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of just giving up and blowing her own brains out.
Yep. So we kind of end this episode on two fronts. We end this with Jesse basically telling Sam, just act like you're somebody who's brave. And then they head out the door. No, she doesn't say be brave. She tells him to act like somebody who's... I just don't...
Yeah. She said pretend like you're someone who's brave.
Right, right. Pretend like you're someone who's brave. Pretend like you're someone who's not afraid of monsters.
Yeah. Pretend like this is all fake.
Right. So, I don't know. That I don't really agree with that necessarily. I think she should have said to him, be brave. Right. She should have said, act brave, be brave. Don't pretend to be like someone who is brave. I mean, geez, that means you're not brave. But, yeah. And the whole time, he's still in this daze. So as they're covered in guts heading out the door, he's going, Mom, Mom, Mom.
Yeah, it's like it gets louder. Each mom's louder than the last. Yeah. It's not good.
He gets 3 of them out, and then they cut to the end of the episode. So, but we still have Carol and Morgan, their fight, and the walker or the wolf getting ready to leave. He's going to take, and I wrote Lydia again. He's going to take Denise and take her hostage and get away. But that's when Eugene and Rosita and Tara come busting in, and at that point they kind of shake things up and tell the wolf to take one of them instead, and whatever. So what ends up happening? What's the final thing there? He takes Denise and goes.
Yeah, he gets all their weapons and leaves. So now he's got like 3 guns and a couple knives, a machete, and Denise. Yep.
And I thought for sure, I was like, this is Eugene's chance. This is his chance to grow some balls and just save everybody. And no, he's just like, I'm still afraid.
Yeah,
I think he just didn't want to mess up his mullet, but
That's weird.
Yep. So anyway, then so episode ends, mid-season finale. We won't see another episode until February.
One other thing happened though. Glenn climbs up that tree and he sees Maggie stuck.
That's right.
On that stand, that lookout tower thing.
They're hanging up over the top of the wall, aren't they?
I thought he was in a tree, like at the wall.
Maybe so. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, him and Enid both, and they're up there looking, and they see her that she's still alive, but she's stuck up on that platform. So yeah, that's right. That does happen. So at least they both know he knows she's still alive. She doesn't see him because she's kind of too busy fighting for her life. But yeah, we have some small bit of hope there, which is good. So, everybody's still alive except for Deanna at the end of the episode. She is our loss for this week. Not what I was expecting. I kind of expected one of the other people to get eaten, especially the guy with no name who was helping Rick shore up the wall because he got hurt too. I don't think he got
hurt and got picked up, and we never saw where he was, what house he went into or anything.
Oh, I think he went with him. I think he was one of the guys covered in guts, wasn't he? That they were kind of shambling out with at the end.
I don't know.
No? Okay.
Maybe.
I thought he was one of the lights.
I don't remember seeing him in our house.
Okay. They all come out, hands held, as one group together and kind of sliding through the walkers with their guts all over them. And so
that's when the kids start saying Mom.
Yeah, and that was kind of the end. But I thought he was right, like one person behind, because it was Jesse, him, wasn't it Michonne? And then behind her, I thought was that other guy, Paul, or whatever his name is. I don't know. Something. They're all Paul and Lydia. And then they're dead. It's kind of like red shirts. Kind of like red shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So then after that, we sit down to watch Into the Badlands, which is an awesome show. Despite what people are saying, there are people out there who are saying that it's a stupid show, and AMC is really, really stupid to do what they've done with it, and that's to put it right after Walking Dead and make people have to watch it just so they can watch Talking Dead. And I'm like, well, then just record it on DVR and don't watch it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
But don't sit there and badmouth something you don't like or that you don't know anything about.
I like it. I like the third episode.
Oh, yeah. Into the Badlands has been an amazing show so far. And we'll talk about the third episode here on our next episode. So just stay tuned for that. It's one of the best new shows out. I mean, I haven't seen a show this good. The choreography for the fight scenes is amazing. The guy that plays Sonny is an accomplished martial artist, so that really plays well into the fight scenes. And there's a good, solid story to it. It's very, very interesting. It's a post-apocalyptic world, but it's kind of it's not sci-fi. But there are sci-fi kind of elements to it.
It would be more steampunk than sci-fi.
Yeah, but there's also that fantasy element, the whole thing with the new world and this kid with the special power, and so it's interesting. But it's very good. It's worth watching.
But
so
during
anyway,
the first commercial break for that episode this week,
go ahead.
We got a nice preview.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening? We get Daryl,
Abraham
riding back in the truck, and they come on a biker.
Yep.
It's all just, lined up in the road with their guns ready for them.
Just casually sitting there.
Chilling.
And, they get out, and they're like, oh, hey, this is an easy first step.
Yep.
So then they're like, hey, do you think any of this stuff is yours? It's not yours. And then they go through, all that stuff, and the guy lists all this stuff, like the extra napkins in your glove compartment, the chains in the floorboard.
Anything you think is yours is not yours.
Right. And then he says whose it is.
Yeah. Well, Sasha asked. She's like, well, whose is it?
Yep. And he says, all your stuff belongs to Negan. So I was like, yes, Negan. So we know.
Now we're going to have like two wars going on at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and we don't know, at this point, we don't know who the Wolves are really affiliated with.
Mm-hmm.
We know they're kind of a roving band of whatever, but we don't know. Somebody's leading them. And we don't really know who that is.
We saw maybe the person in charge's feet, and we heard his voice, maybe.
Maybe.
In the Daryl episode?
Yeah. Yep. Well, I know, we had the whole thing with Dwight, and Dwight is in the comics. But there's somebody else. We know we've seen a guy, kind of a beardy guy with blondish hair, who seems to be the leader of the Wolves back when they were doing the trucks filled with walkers. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was something there. But we don't know if he's the leader of all of them or if he's just the leader of this little group that's kind of out running around, kind of like he would be like a general instead of the whole leader of everything. So I don't know. There's a lot of things going on there we're not sure of. So, all right. Predictions for next half of the season. What do we think?
Well, in a commercial, at some point before the end of the episode, there was a commercial where they were talking about The Walking Dead, and there's a shot in there of Rick with shooting flares.
Okay.
So, and I hadn't seen that, and he was up against the wall, and I haven't seen that this season. So,
okay.
I would think that Rick's gonna make it to the armory. I don't know about anybody else. Rick and Carl and Judith are gonna make it to the armory.
And they're going to give Judith a gun. She's going to kill her first walker. Yay, your first walker.
She's going to become like Maggie.
That's right. They just hang on the back. Rick will be shooting in the front. It'd be like Lone Wolf and Cub, right?
That's right. Cap and Bucky when Bucky was a baby.
That's right. Or what's the...
Nomad and Bucky.
No, from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh, yeah.
The big guy with the little guy on his back.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off track now. So, who do we think is going to die next half of the season? Because Kirkman said people are going to die. In fact, he said at the mid-season premiere, people are going to die. So, I kind of look for maybe Sam. I don't know. I think they're going to protect the kid. I don't think they're going to let another kid die because we've already lost some kids in the past.
But if that guy's with them, Bob, Paul, whatever his name is,
he'll die. Yeah, for sure. We know Deanna's dead, so who do we have left that we don't want to lose at this point? I'm
thinking one of the girls is going to die.
One of the girls like Tara or Rosita or somebody?
Not Sasha.
No, I don't think they'll kill Tara off either.
But I don't think they're going to kill Denise off either.
No, I don't know. That'll be interesting.
I don't know. Her story just got going, but that doesn't mean anything. But I think she's more needed right now.
Yeah, we don't know enough about her backstory to kill her off yet.
True.
That's the way it goes in this show. You got to find out. Like, we'll have a whole episode that's just a Denise episode, and then she'll die.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Do we want to see a whole episode about a girl who was teased for being overweight in high school and could never get a guy and decided to go to medical school?
Wait, okay. But one other thing before we end this. Did you notice? All right. So, oh my gosh. Mullet Man. Eugene and the girls are in that basement. And the basement looks like it's set up as a school, right?
Right.
Like there's desks and things like that. He picks the lock and they go upstairs. And lo and behold, they're in the same house as the wolf.
Right.
So was school being taught while Morgan had this guy in here?
No, because it's only been like a day. It hasn't been very long. Yeah, it hasn't been very long at all.
Nothing's got back to normal yet. I get you.
No. Yeah, not at all. I mean, I think they've got the whole thing with the horde and all that stuff that's happened, because it was pretty much like, the wolves attacked, the horde came in, the bell tower fell. I mean, it was boom, boom, boom. Pretty quick succession. I think it was like maybe one day there when he had him in storage. That was it. So, but yeah, it seems to have been the school there. So, I don't know, lots of stuff going on. So,
Carl
I would say
killing the other kid,
Ronnie.
Yep, Carl's gonna kill him.
Maybe, and
or
maybe,
he's gonna get eaten.
Ronnie will get eaten, but in the process, I think Carl's gonna get hurt. We got to get that whole Carl getting hurt.
I think he might, and if Carl gets hurt, that'll be what makes Enos stay.
Maybe so. Yeah. So I hope, we know that by the final episode of this season, we will see Negan.
Yep.
So that means we've got another 8 episodes or 7 episodes where we're going to be leading up to that whole story. So what are we going to have happen in between there? We know Rick's going to, of course, immediately want to turn around and try to clear out the town and get things back to normal, take out as much of this horde as possible. I don't know. How's he going to do it? So leave us your comments. Please like, share, subscribe, comment on what you think. We've always got stuff to give away. Maybe I can scrape something together and send your way. I do have.
One other thing. Sorry. Did you catch? All right, the kid Sam, right? Little kid. That's Sam. When they're painting around in his room at the beginning, the little figures on the shelf, the little action figure things. That's Invincible.
Oh, is it? That's cool. Very nice.
All 4 of those characters, all 4 of those figures are from Invincible. I was like, well, I rewound it to watch that part again to make sure.
Well, and that was Kirkman's first comic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, no, it's at a lower. Yeah, it's at a lower number than Walking Dead.
Is it?
It's only at 125. Walking Dead's at 140.
See, I wonder why I picked that up instead of picking up Walking Dead then back in the day. Because I had the first, 15, 20 issues of that.
Yeah.
Crazy. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, that kind of stuff happens. So, yeah. But, hey, we could even talk about the comics, because I did just read the latest issue of the comic, and it was pretty good. Have you been watching it or reading it?
No.
Okay. It's good. 148, I think we're on. And let's see. I can tell you for sure. No, I lied. I can't tell you.
Oh, well.
Anyway, it was good. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of interesting things going on. And at the end of the issue, it was just kind of like, whoa. And this came out week before last, so it's not really spoiling it at this point. I will spoil it though if you haven't read it. Actually, 3 weeks ago, I think now. Rick is having this meeting with the group because, the Whisperers killed a bunch of people, killed 7 people from the community, and hung their heads on stakes at a line, basically, where they said, this is the line of our territory versus your territory. Nobody took that well, because the people they killed were very important to a lot of the main character people, because they killed Eugene's wife, who was pregnant and going to have a baby, killed her, killed Ezekiel, who was Michonne's former lover, killed a few other people who were kind of important. And now, here's their zombie heads going on the stick, right? So that was gross, but it just made everybody mad. So they want Rick to do something. Rick says, I've seen this horde that she has. I mean, she's got like a quarry-sized horde out there that she's hiding, and she's going to use that against us if we go do anything against her. So we're not going to do that. Instead, he's taken her daughter back, because she kind of turned her daughter over to them to take care of. And because she knows she can't take care of her, and in the group, basically, they were just passing her from guy to guy. She was doing whatever they wanted her to do, and wearing the zombie skins and walking around. And now she has the opportunity to actually grow up in a city and be taken care of as a normal kid. She's still not quite sure what's going on, because her life has been that, and to be treated nicely, and it's like, what do you want from me? What are you doing? She's having a hard time with that. But Carl really likes her and all that. So we see a scene with Alpha, who's the mother, who was the leader of the Whisperers, and she's crying because of her daughter. And one of the other Whisperers comes up and she's like, Alpha, are you okay? And she says, I'm fine. I just didn't think that I would have these emotions. I didn't think I'd be this weak. And he's like, well, it's fine. Just don't let anybody else find out because they might challenge you, but I won't say anything. And it won't be a problem. She goes, I know, I'm taking care of it. And then she slits his throat and kills him. And somebody else comes up and they're like, Alpha, are you okay? She's like, yeah, he challenged me. Now it's over. Let's go back and do stuff, So, I mean, she's definitely cold-blooded, she's covering her tracks, and then not somebody to be messed with. So in the end, Rick tries to have this meeting and everybody just erupts and they start fighting, brawling. And he shoots off his gun, settles everybody down, sends them home, goes down to the jail. And in the jail, the only person who's currently been in jail for the last, 20 episodes, 20 issues has been Negan. And he goes to Negan and he says, I need your help. And it's like, wow. Because that's somebody you'd never think Rick would go for help. But he's going to Negan for help.
Not to spoil anything for what may happen at the end of this episode.
Yes, or the end of this season.
Most people don't know anything about Negan.
Right. So you'll find out soon. But he's a bad guy. All right, so that's it for this week. Hope you liked it. We'll be taking a break then from our Walking Dead coverage until February. But look for other TCBD talk for Into the Badlands and maybe Ash versus Evil Dead.
Soon too. There's only like
6 episodes.
Yeah, so
3 more.
We're about to 3. There's only 3 more.
Yep. So lots of good stuff. But definitely leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about all this.
Yep, and thanks for the comments on the last episode, or the last episode of this on here.
Yeah, we appreciate that. All right. See you guys later.
Bye. Have a good one.